Why play lethal difficulty when you're not level 25? Alright, so before we get into this post, I just need to say, there's been a couple times, well, I'll say there's been a couple days, where it's genuinely been hard to find teammates who are ready for lethal. I am not sure what is going on, but there's been a wave of, I mean, they are level 25, but they're level 25s, like, they're new to the game, but that said, I just don't think that there's a general new player population that is not ready for lethal. They're just not ready for lethal. And, you know, they're practicing or whatever, but I don't think you should play lethal until you can get through Ruthless, you know, without dying, basically. You know what? That said, it's been a pain. It's really been a pain finding random teammates for lethal. Even if they're level 25, they'll just die. They will literally just die within the first 3 minutes of the operation. It's like, to find somebody who can actually survive lethal randomly now, it's a crapshoot. It is insane how many people are joining lethal who don't understand like little things like how to teleport at the battle barge. Like, they are walking everywhere. It's like, that is I know it seems like a nitpick, but that is the type of player that I'm kind of pointing out. It's like, bro, you can travel to these places. If you don't understand how to navigate, you know, battle barge, what makes you think you can navigate lethal, man? Not said, like, honestly, they're clearly not that comparable. It's not like, you know, if you're just walking everywhere in the battle barge, it's not like you can't beat lethal because of that. But it brings into question what you know about the game. If you are playing lethal and you haven't fought a Hellbrute before, but you're level 25, you need to go down the Ruthless. You might need to go back down to Substantial. Like there are just way too many. Like, I actually have an opposite issue with this post. It's like, dude, I can complete lethal not level 25, like within the ballpark. I wouldn't join lethal level 10 or anything, but like the lowest level I've realistically completed lethal at was like 19. I did beat a lethal run level 3 with heavy, but I had a really good team there, so I'm not counting that. But that said, it's like some of these players, this is why I'm really glad I'm making videos on some of the details of the actual like game mechanics and stuff. And yeah, sometimes I talk about news or whatever, but the thing is, I am finding way too many people playing on lethal who are just not ready for it, even if they're level 25. And I do understand they need some practice for it, but they are dying within the first couple minutes of the operation. That sort of discrepancy basically means they need to go back down to Ruthless. You really should at least be able to beat every terminus that spawns, you know, without dying on Ruthless. That's when you know you are ready for lethal, something like that. But like, we have this wave of new players who are just joining lethal at level 25, and they just don't understand. They just didn't play the game enough. It's pretty wild. So with that rant said, I am genuinely worried about the new difficulty, because if I'm having this hard of a time trying to find good teammates for lethal, I think I should just invite some of you guys, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, because I know people in my comments are ready for lethal at all times. So I'm gonna think about something with that. Maybe I'll share my like Steam profile or something. But regardless, trying to find random teammates for lethal is super difficult. It is super difficult. There's too many people jumping into lethal, dying within the first couple minutes, and then just re-queuing. It's just like, oh my god. Now, I don't want to sound too harsh. I know I'm spending a lot of time on the title here. I don't want to sound too harsh, but yeah, I don't know. I just had a rant about it. This type of experience makes me worried for the new difficulty, because then it's even going to be harder to find teammates, you know. Like, that's crazy. And that said, I don't want to like always, you know, I don't want to always make sure I find a carry, but frankly, it's just trying to find somebody who could navigate lethal without dying. It's crazy. I don't know. Let me know your experience with random teammates in lethal. This new difficulty, I know a lot of new players are going to come back. Not new players. A lot of veterans are going to come back to the game to try it out, you know. So I think, you know, within the first couple weeks, it's not going to be that difficult to navigate the new difficulty, which is funny. But that said, right now, since the game's kind of, everyone's kind of just relaxed with Space Marines 2. Everyone's, just leveling weapons. There's new players leveling up their characters. There's too many people who are hitting level 25 and going right to lethal, and I genuinely don't know if they beat Ruthless yet. Like, I genuinely don't know. Oh my god, it's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. There's so many runs that just instantly get killed in lethal because there's a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. Like, especially the other day. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes maybe I'm wrong about this, but the other day I found a sniper who was just running through lethal, and he left me and a heavy, and I was playing Vanguard at the time with a Melta, and I think I was with the heavy, but what happened was the heavy went down early against Zoanthropes, and I go to pick him up. He leaves, and then I look around, and the sniper is so far away from us because he's running through the level. He's literally trying to sprint through Inferno. And it's the sniper who should be taking out the Zoanthropes. Because this guy just speed ran the operation. He didn't even care to see where our teammates were. And it's like, dude, you can't complete lethal that way. And guess what? Guess what happens? He goes down, our heavy is a bot. I go down because I have a Melta against 2 Zoanthropes on lethal. There's also mobs because he's not killing everything. And I go down, and then I go down to a mortal wound, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure. But regardless, we just had a heavy bot left, and then the game, it was a defeat. It was rough. I asked the sniper what he was doing, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just trying out a new build." Bro, it is lethal. It is lethal, and you are running past enemies. How are you trying out a new build if you're not even killing anything? If you're not even fighting anything? That's the type of mentality for lethal. It's like, bro. Like, dude, I definitely had to avoid that guy because, like, players like that is just crazy. Like, I feel like so many players are just jumping into lethal just because they're level 25. Like, I have the opposite feeling of this title. I ranted about this for 6 minutes, but, like, honestly, I had to get it off my chest. I'm not 100% sure if the general population for this game is even ready for a new difficulty because we can't even find a handful of players randomly who can get through lethal difficulty. Like, oh my, okay, all right. I calmed down now. Let's get to the actual post here. Holy cow. Today I started a mission on Inferno at difficulty 4 and ended up with 2 other level 25 players, and we decided to raise the difficulty to lethal. At this point, I'm just like, dude, it's like a 50-50 chance if you guys are even going to make it halfway. Like, I don't know. I don't want to sound too pessimistic or too negative. But that said, it's just like, dude, it's so hard to find teammates who are actually ready for lethal. It's like, dude, every corner can kill you. Like, you can't just mosey along lethal, man. You can't just casually walk around lethal and be like, oh, okay, just playing Space Marine 2. It's like, no, dude, this is intense difficulty. Oh my god, and people who are joining lethal are trying to win. We're not trying to just make a build. You know what I mean? That's crazy. After 5 minutes, my 2 teammates disconnected after 5 minutes, 2 teammates disconnected after dying. I mean, okay, to be fair, about this specific situation, we decided to raise the difficulty. It sounds like they were all ready for it, What followed was 45 minutes of pure chaos, bad situations. About 15 players joined me one after another. Among them, only 2 were level 25, and the rest were between level 5s and 10. Okay, that was because of the matchmaking. That said, 15 players were cycled through this lethal difficulty. Holy cow, dude. That's exactly the type of thing. That's honestly how I feel. It takes like 15 players to find somebody who's ready for lethal. It's crazy. If you're watching this video and you're not ready for lethal and you think I'm attacking you or whatever, I'm not. Just stay with Ruthless for a bit, and then once Ruthless for Chaos and Tyranid missions become too easy, then you're ready for lethal. I just don't think enough of these players fought a Hellbrute sometimes. Like, I don't think enough of these players understand, like Northrop AoE attacks. Like, there's just too much of the game I feel like they are missing because they are rushing through these levels. They're getting leveled up. Like, honestly, they added the new extermination rank or whatever, which is nice for leveling, but I feel like some of these players are like leveling super fast and then jumping right into lethal without the necessary practice. Like, they're not able to dodge Hellbrutes. What? Okay. Why do you do this? You made the game unplayable for me. You don't have the talents unlocked on your Space Marine to play at this level. Even if you're good players with solid reflex and combos, it's just not going to work. I'm going to push back on this a little bit. I would rather a good player at level 22 or level 23 or level 20 rather than a level 25 player who doesn't pay attention to what's going on. You know what I mean? Mission report, 45 minutes of pain, only to die to a boss right in front of the elevator leading to the refinery rooftops. Oh, Inferno. Yeah, that's rough. I did everything I could to save the mission, and low-level players tried to. This isn't about them. Why don't you play at your appropriate difficulty? That's not how the game is meant to be played. Okay, so this situation is different. These are players who are joining Lethal who are picking classes that are available, and they just happen to be low level. That's pretty much what's going on. And to top it off, you ruined my game. Anyway, I just wanted to vent. Good game, my brothers. Yeah, okay. So we're in the same wavelength here. We're both ranting about Lethal. That's pretty much all I really have to say. I'm going to go into some of these comments to see how people are navigating Lethal. I do see people are being able to like complete solo Lethal at a pretty good rate. I've seen a couple posts of people doing solo Lethal. I might need to go solo Lethal, man. Some of these bots, I just need somebody to survive. You know what I mean? Like, just don't die, please. This game has a giant problem with new, low-skill players queuing Lethal. Yeah, see, look, I'm really trying hard not to be too mean about this. I'm not trying to say I'm the best player in the world or anything, but I'm definitely up there. I'm definitely above average at the very least. I feel like if you have a Survivor helm, you're at a good spot in the game, for sure. You play Lethal enough, you have enough practice. But I agree, there's too many people who are skipping Ruthless. It feels like people are skipping Ruthless, you know what I mean? They're going from Substantial, and Substantial's too easy because they're level 25, right into Lethal because Lethal says, hey, if you're level 25, you should play Lethal. It's like, dude, no. With the matchmaking issues the way that it is, Lethal is such a pain to find good teammates with. And not only that, it just starts to tilt me right from the gate, and we didn't even play the operation yet. You see what I'm saying? Holy cow, man. I didn't know. Man, I've kept this in for a long time, I gotta be honest. But there's been a bit where I was just leveling weapons and I wasn't playing much Lethal. But yeah, as soon as I started to play Lethal again, because I'm one mission away on PC from my Survivor helm, I keep queuing with the same people. They keep making the same mistakes. They aren't playing like appropriate classes for the level. And honestly, just like, oh my god, for every good assault player, there are 5 assault players who are just going to jump into every mob and die within the first couple minutes of the Lethal operation. Like, honestly, sometimes I just want to get on queues and or on comms and just be like, dude, if you're playing assault on this chaos mission, because it's always the chaos missions that are last for Lethal, you need to not die. Please don't die. And, they're just going to die anyway. So much of Lethal is extremely unfun as a result. I will only do Lethal in a pre-made at this point, tired of people dying on the first pull, dropping, and then the onslaught of lobies that join in progress and also just drop moments later. Yeah, I gotta say, like, these are snowballing issues. Lethal definitely has a problem with this, 100%. Oh my god. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And honestly, it's not even these players' faults. I gotta be honest. It's not these players' faults for the most part. They're not... Sometimes people just aren't self-reflective enough. They can't see their own mistakes, and a lot of people are just steamrolling past their own mistakes as try to get some sort of progress or whatever. Like, for Lethal, it's like people will join. We will fight a Hellbrute because I've been trying Obelisk and Fall of, Reliquary. I've been trying Obelisk and Reliquary. Those are my last 2 Lethal missions on PC. I only need one. I only need to complete one, so I've been going to Obelisk. But a Hellbrute can spawn in both these operations very early. So I'm going into these operations, and the amount of times I'm the last guy standing on Hellbrute, it just like, you can just see the patterns now. So now whenever I see like one of our teammates drop within the first boss, now I just leave. I just leave, bro. Like honestly, if you can't survive a couple minutes in a Hellbrute fight, what makes you think we're gonna complete this Lethal operation? You know what I mean? Oh boy. All right, I had to get that off my chest. It is super frustrating to deal with, 100%. I'll go into another comment. Let me know in the comments how you guys been dealing with Lethal, because I know we have some actual battle brothers in the comments who are completing Lethal, and we're at the same, we have the same wavelength. Also, I know there's a couple of you guys who completed Lethal already who, are waiting for Horde mode or the new update or whatever. So, yeah, we definitely have a wave of new players who don't understand the, some of the harder to find details, I guess, like Invigorating Icon healing you on Terminus or, like at the very least, which team perks to run. That said, I've been seeing some good team perks. I haven't been seeing anything too egregious. It's just the fact that people will join lethal and die within the first couple minutes, and then they'll queue up again, and I'll see the same player, and they'll do the same thing. It's just, oh, okay. Holy cow. Mate, last night was the first time I ever left the game. Ruthless Reliquary, level 1 heavy joined, was waiting for me as an assault to go in first, clear most of the enemies, and then decide to jump in when I'm half dead and there. So yeah, Reliquary with a level 1 heavy, that's rough. That's definitely rough. Few enemies left, still go down, gobble all the stims that he didn't deserve. Had another sniper level 25, was either AFK every few minutes. At first I thought he was just waiting around vantage points to tee up some executions, but he... But nothing was getting shot from the very beginning of the mission. I had about 4 minutes plus before they finally decided to help me for the first wave. Then by the bridge, they were hanging around so long they triggered massive waves. Yeah, see, no, that's, yeah, that's exactly the type of details I'm pointing out. It's like, dude, you guys understand we gotta move through this operation, right? There's gonna be more waves. Like, I've dealt with that with my first lethal run. It's just so insane. It's like the people are just like, you know, they're looking at their resources. They're like, oh, I have low ammo. I should probably find an ammo box. And it's like, dude, we're on the bridge right now. Like, please run with me. Oh my god. Then proceed to run off in front and leave me. I just saw my arse and left the game. Saw my arse. I don't mind carrying reviving lower level players at all if they're going to have a go and get stuck in, but that was just flat out not playing the game. Yeah. Holy cow. No. I mean, yeah. Sheesh, dude. There's nothing we can do about this. Some players are just clueless. You know what I mean? They're not watching any Space Marine content. They have the game. They're level 25. They don't know how to use their kit effectively. They're just jumping into lethal, and eventually they'll get carried. You know, eventually they'll find 2 teammates to carry them, and they won't understand a single thing about the game. And now there's going to be a new difficulty. So those players, the handful of players who are getting carried through lethal, who don't understand the game, who don't understand like little things like enemy wave timing, you know, stuff like that. It's like they're going to go into this new difficulty, and it's just going to be, oh my god, it's going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad. This new difficulty is, you know, it's going to be a pain. Just judging how hard it is to find competent teammates at lethal, it's going to be such a pain for this new difficulty, man. We have a problem. They need to sort out matchmaking, at least for classes, just so we can get rid of the lower level players. That'll help us a bit. But I'm running into level 25s who don't know what they're doing. I'm running into level 25s who can't survive the first enemy wave in lethal. That doesn't make sense. Oh boy. Maybe they're all trying new builds. That's the deal. They're just going to lethal to try new builds. They're using white and green weapons in lethal, trying out new builds. Like, the only time I would ever do that if I know I have a good backup. And not to mention, like, we still would win the operation. Like, the results would still be the same for me using a green weapon for the lethal operation for the most part. But that said, there's definitely certain weapons that can do that. Like, you're not jumping into lethal with a green level bolt rifle. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. But a green level plasma incinerator, that's different. Yeah, I don't know. I said what I needed to say. I needed to rant a little bit. I'm really sorry if this video came off too negative, but I genuinely believe there needs to be something done about lethal. There needs to be something done about lethal. It's like queuing up for a raid in WoW, and like they haven't even completed dungeons yet or something. You know what I mean? I don't play WoW, but I've been watching the Only Fangs WoW situation. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's like that almost.